This Snowball Derby Betting Picks 2024 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM.
Drivers, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm Rod Villagomez. He's Cody Zeeb, and the weather outside is frightful, but it is, of course, the time. There's always a good time for snowball derbies, and this is where we're at, Cody. We are now discussing the Snowball Derby because, well, as we know, the NASCAR season's been over for a couple of weeks, but doesn't mean racing is over in general.
Hey, we got racing to talk about, Rod. We have racing to bet on. Why would we not be talking about it? So here we are. Yeah, pretty excited. Not an extensive array of odds or anything like that, but could have a little action. Get to talk about some racing and quite a few NASCAR drivers in this field, and as there is year to year, and that doesn't mean that the NASCAR drivers are going to win this race, Rod, because that doesn't happen all the time, which makes it a wonderful, wonderful race and a good time.
Yes, so if you're unfamiliar with the whole premise of the Snowball Derby, don't worry. We've got that for you, and we'll tell you about that. Want to check in real quick with the chat. Justin Burton saying, man, hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. Glad to see y'all back. We're getting closer and closer to the Clash. Yeah, I mean, listen, that countdown is ever looming. We are definitely looking forward to the Clash and being able to break down those odds. But like Cody said, we've got racing to actually talk about, and there's odds out for who's going to win this Snowball Derby. So where there's racing, where there's odds, there is us, and that is you just can't get us away from it. So yeah, Snowball Derby happening in Florida, right, where the weather is not frightful outside. I'm sure it's
no
nice.
Snowballs there, but
no snowballs. In fact, I don't know that the threat of snow is even, I don't know, Cody, I've never been to Florida, so does it ever snow there?
I think that it probably does. I lived on the coast of Mississippi back in the time when I was in the military. That's where we were stationed at, and we got snow, I think, twice. It was just like snow flurries and like it doesn't stick to the ground because of it. I lived so close to the ocean, you could see the ocean from like Gulf of Mexico from my apartment. Like that's how on the good coast we were. But yeah, like everything shuts down because nobody knows what the fuck to do when there's snow. They had like signs taped all over the apartment complex that we lived at, like all these things to do to make sure your pipes don't freeze and all this stuff. And like, here in Nebraska, it's just like, okay, it's cold out. Like, it's the next 5 months. Like, it's just how it is. But pretty funny down there when it does happen. But yeah, I think they probably see some snowflakes at least in Florida every once in a while. Probably not too far down south, but up to the northern part, maybe not.
I remember when it was snowing in like the Clarksville area of Tennessee, and how everybody lost their minds and couldn't figure out what that white stuff was, and just people like sledding off the side of the road. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, I'd never really driven in snow up to that point either, but like I was thinking to myself, how are you this inept at driving that you can't get around in the snow? But That's neither here nor there. Hey, listen, if you're listening to this show in the off season, we definitely appreciate it. But if you are just stumbling on this show and you don't know how you got here, I could tell you how to get here from now on and find your way. You won't be stumbling around in the snow to try to find the show. It's easy. Just download the SGPN app. It's completely free, and you have easy access to all of our shows, not just this one. So if you're looking for other shows, I know there's football going on, that one sport, I don't know what they do. They throw the ball. I know that the footy season just ended. The AFLW women's champions were just crowned. So congratulations to North Melbourne. And that was fantastic. They don't have any shows for that on the SGPN app, but maybe someday we will have a footy app on there. But regardless, go download the app. It's got all of our shows on it. It's got all of our picks pages. You can download it wherever you get your app. Cody, you did not partake in the AFLW Women's Champion, did you?
I did not, Rod. Unfortunately, not this year. There's always next year, so maybe I'll be back for it. JDK saying, "Come for the gambling, stay for the meteorology." Hey, look, it's the off season. We got to fill the time, so you get our snow stories.
You will take what you want or what you get, and that's what you want. All right. Snowball Derby. Let's turn our attention to that.
You want to catch up on some NASCAR?
Yeah. There are some stuff to talk about. I forgot about that. NASCAR is still going on.
Yeah, it is. There's not a ton, I guess, to talk about, but a few things for sure. So Joe Gibbs Racing is named Tyler Allen, the crew chief for Ty Gibbs in the number 54 team. In 2024, Rod Allen was the crew chief for the JGR number 20 car in Xfinity. That car won 8 races with 4 different drivers. Obviously, we know how good that car was. It was the all-star car. You had a lot of good drivers in there, but still needs to be a car set up right, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's I think a good pairing for Ty Gibbs. Tyler Allen's obviously shown the ability to get things done in the Xfinity Series. Now you're putting him in the Cup Series. I think going back to our conversation about Ty Gibbs and JGR the other day, I would like to clarify something because the Blue Deuce over in the Discord thought we said that Ty Gibbs was better than Christopher Bell. I don't think if that's what we said, it wasn't meant to be said that way. So I'd like to clarify that because we don't think that Ty Gibbs is better than Christopher Bell. But talent-wise, I think that he's pretty close. I think there could be a conversation to be had there, right, at least. But it's interesting. You know, Chris Gale not really getting it done with the 54 car. Things didn't seem to go well. And they give him to Denny Hamlin and then give this up-and-coming guy that's done well in Xfinity Series to Ty, which in a general sense, the more veteran guy would go to the more veteran guy, but sort of seems like maybe Chris Gale wasn't cutting it anyways. So interesting matchmaking, I suppose. Maybe, sometimes change is good for everybody. Maybe it'll work out, but I think that maybe it shows that they're a little more interested in Ty Gibbs' future than Denny Hamlin's what he has left.
But we did say that, and honestly too, I went back and I listened, and we didn't say that he was better. We were talking about the pecking order and the potential pecking order, and then also we said that he can be. There is potential for him to be better in the end. Now, if you followed me all of last season, there was no way in any way, shape, or form that you would have ever heard me utter the phrase Ty Gibbs is better than Christopher Bell. And that opinion has not changed over the offseason. However, I will say, as he progresses, he probably will get better, and he will probably end up getting better than Christopher Bell. The potential is there. I still don't think it's there yet. And I think in the pecking order of things, if you're prioritizing, obviously you're going to put a young talent like Ty Gibbs a little higher on the pecking order, right? And that's kind of where we're at. And I don't even
last name. I mean, he's you can't overlook that, right? That means something. And now he didn't get there just because of his last name. That stuff is bullshit. Like, it obviously helps, right? And probably, he's probably guaranteed a ride when he does get there, but he's earned it certainly along the way as well. So just wanted to clear that up. JDK saying 2311 and FRM are screwed, Rod.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an interesting thing. Obviously, all the lawsuit stuff continues to unfold. NASCAR, 2311 filed their motion. NASCAR has filed their motion. SHR has submitted a request. So SHR kind of getting the shit end of the stick, right? They're like, oh, we sold these charters for all this money, but the people we sold them to, we can't sell them to because, obviously the Trackhouse one, I think, although I don't know, I haven't heard that that's officially gone through, but you'd assume that one's not a problem because Trackhouse has signed the new charter agreement. SHR is like holding these charters. They're like, hey, we want to get rid of these, but there's nobody to take them because 2311 Front Row won't sign the charter agreement. Now NASCAR's come out, Rod, and said that even if they were to drop, so, and this is very interesting. I'm sort of trying to figure out how this works, but they're saying that even if they drop the lawsuit, they can't go back and sign the charter agreement. The charter agreement was, your deadline was that Friday at Atlanta or whatever, and that's it. You're done. So it feels to me like NASCAR should be trying to get them to drop the lawsuit and say, hey, just come sign the thing and we're good. It's all good, right? But also I think that they could be using this as intimidation as far as like trying to scare them. And so that as it kind of gets a little farther and then, you know, they feel like they're maybe getting a step above 2311 and Front Row, they can be like, you know what, look, let's just end this. You sign the old charter deal. It's good. We're good. And then it feels like they're conceding something, right? Because it's like, you know, I was planning to give the kid 2 pieces of candy tonight, but we're going to tell her she's getting 1 piece of candy. Then when she asks for the other one, it's like, okay, fine, 1 more, but no more than that. Like, sort of maybe feels a little bit like that. Now, NASCAR also, assuming that they don't lose this lawsuit, could hold every right to just turn around and sell those charters to the fuck they want to. That would be, I feel like that would be very bad for business if they did that, Rod, because a couple of things, obviously it's a slap in the face to the teams that, you know, and I get that they've stepped out now on them and they've got the lawsuit thing, but they're teams that are committed to the future that want to be here. One of them has an owner named Michael Jordan. Not sure if you've ever heard of him. Sort of a big deal. Like, how much do you want to fuck that guy over? Probably not very much. So yeah, it is all very interesting. I just don't see a world where they just pull the, you know, NASCAR wins the lawsuit, they pull the plug and say, well, you can buy these charters back if you want them. I don't see that being the case. And I feel like somewhere along the line, this is all going to get resolved. One side or the other is going to win the lawsuit, or maybe they get to a point where they can meet in the middle, change the agreement. I still personally fully believe that we will get to a point, you know, whether that's before the season, maybe not, whether that's during the season, maybe this goes into next off season. But I think at some point we will reach the point where even if the lawsuit's decided one way or the other, everybody will come back into the same room. We'll figure it out. These two teams are going to have 3 charters going forward, and everything's continue to operate per normal. I feel like that's where it's going to end up eventually, but there's a lot of fucking unknowns for sure.
Michael Jordan's the kind of guy and has the kind of money that if he wanted to, and if he really got a bug up there, he could take his toys and try to start an entirely new race just altogether. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of, and this is the world we live in now, where it's like, all right, fine. If you don't want to play with me, I will go and I will start my own streaming service. I will go and I will start my own.
But he can't, Rod, because NASCAR is a monopoly.
Oh, well then, I'm sorry. Whoa,
that's the entire argument we got here.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, so if that happens, right, and if he ends up losing, then prove that he's not that. I guess not a good way to prove that it's a monopoly. Go out and start your own. But by the same token, it's like, all right, fine. You know, if you really feel this way, if you don't think that there's any real threat of competition from anybody, well, guess what? Now I'm going to make some competition, and we're gonna start our own racing. It may take a while for it to jump off, but whatever.
I don't think we'll ever get to that point, just because there's too many things that go into all of that.
So much money.
Yeah, and it just too much money. The tracks are all essentially owned by NASCAR or NASCAR's partner and all of that, but. Yeah, I think that it's going to be resolved eventually, but, you know, there's going to still be more chapters in this soap opera before we get to a nice kumbaya at the end, I think.
Yep, indeed. One last piece that I want to get to. I don't think we talked about Connor Mosack on the show, driving the number 81 for McNally Helgeman, which is actually a new number for that car. So congratulations, Connor Mosack, on a new ride.
Yeah, that's an interesting deal there. We've obviously kind of seen him around. Napa's kind of extending their partnership to another car. I think it's the Napa Night Focus or Night Shift or whatever they have that's going to be like the primary on that one. But McNally trucks obviously are fast. We've seen that. So good to see him get a full ride. One other guy that's getting a full ride in the Truck Series, Rod, Gio, I think it's Ruggiero. I'm not exactly sure how to say his name, but he's going to drive full-time for Tricon in the Truck Series as well. So another full-time Tricon truck driver here. And Jordan Bianchi says, for those unfamiliar with the 18-year-old, his talent is held in high regard by those within the garage, many thinking he is a potential star in the future. So he's a Toyota development guy that's coming up, just 18 years old. He just turned 18 actually in August. He's going to replace Taylor Gray in the 17 truck. Of course, we know Gray has moved on to Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. But he's a late model guy. He's kind of come up through that, and then also has run in the ARCA Menard Series the last couple of seasons. One win in the ARCA East Series last year. So, yeah, that's his deal. And yeah, again, like kind of I was trying to look through some of his stuff here, and he's come up through late models, essentially is where he's come from. So, but a lot of people seem big on him, big Toyota Racing development guy. Toyota Racing pipeline and development program has been pretty good over the years. So going to be a guy to keep an eye on, and probably a guy we'll be talking about a good amount next season in the Truck Series.
Indeed. Yes. Another late model guy. Speaking of late model, we've got late model to get to as we talk about the Snowball Derby, and we'll do that. But first, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports. You can win up to 1,000x with Underdog streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems, NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, Formula One, and more. You can also use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Going to be using mine on the Max Verstappen pick for Formula One. I think it's going to be a Max Verstappen week, so we're going to pick higher than whatever is projected finishing position on that one, because I guarantee right now you can't get much higher than first. So give me that one. Sign up now with promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. It's underdogfantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're brought to you by Rebet. What's Rebet? Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. There are plenty of betting opportunities. All are available on Rebet. Easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sports books may be restricted. Download the Rebet app in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right, Cody. Well, we said it is the Snowball Derby time. Snowball Derby time. Pensacola, Florida, the Five Flags Speedway, set for 300 laps around this half-mile track for a 158-mile race. First one of these, Cody, was held in 1968. A very prestigious race around this short track in the late model cars. Like Cody said, there's a lot of NASCAR guys, NASCAR names in this particular race, and there have been year after year after year. But believe it or not, the guy with the most wins around this track is not one that we very much know by NASCAR standards. Rich Bickle has 5 wins.
Don't count Rich Bickle's Cup Series and NASCAR Series short, Rod. He did have 85 career NASCAR Cup Series starts, 79 truck starts, and 54 Xfinity Series starts. So he was around at least, but definitely a late model guy. And he sort of dominated this race throughout the entire 90s. I mean, those 5 wins all came from 1990 to 1999. Sort of made this his race for sure.
Indeed. Yeah. So if you would like to watch this, you can watch this on Flow Racing. Find it on the NASCAR. Actually, NASCAR.com has a section of the site dedicated to the Snowball Derby. It tells you when, where, and what's going on. In fact, we just had day 1, which consisted of some of the pit opening, the track service meetings, drivers meetings. They actually had the tech open for late models, practice qualifying tire draw. So we're going to get the qualifying draw at 6 p.m. for Eastern. So 45 minutes from now, there's going to be the qualifying draw. And then tomorrow is when most of the stuff happens on the track. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buildup leading into this weekend. But yeah, the main event is going to be on, Sunday. And that is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's when you can watch the actual Snowball Derby. Of course, there is a Snowflake 100 at 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, December 7th. So
that wasn't back in September. It is here in December. But yeah, some former notable names to win this race, Rod. Ty Majeski, your 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, is actually the defending race winner. That was his second win. Chandler Smith won it back in 2021. Noah Gragson in 2018. Kyle Busch in 17. Christian Eckes in 16. Chase Elliott in 15. John Nemechek, Eric Jones. Chase Elliott actually the youngest winner in history back in 2011. Joanna Long, Kyle Busch. Again on here, Steve Wallace was back in the day. And you're going way back. The Rich Pickles, of course, Jeff Purvis won this race back in the day. Darrell Waltrip, Donnie Allison. If you want to go all the way back to the 70s for some big NASCAR names. So, yeah, this has been one of these races that a lot of NASCAR, whether it's Cup Series drivers, Truck Series drivers, Xfinity drivers, even some ARCA drivers and whatnot, come out, show up, and it pulls all the big names this time of year.
Yes, so I know that the cover guy is actually Bobby Allison of 1985. He didn't actually win this race, but the photo that I was able to pull up from our photo service when I typed in Snowball Derby came up Allison. I thought that's fine because he probably did have some pretty good runs on this track. So we're going to go old school with this because this is kind of a old school flavor type of a track.
I like it, Rob.
So, all right. So again, like we said, there's going to be a slew of NASCAR drivers in this particular track. So what we're going to do is, if you want to find the odds, we're allowed to tell them where to get the odds, right?
We are allowed to tell them. That's the only place. If you see somewhere else, let us know. But that's the only place. If
you're listening,
yeah,
get them
like
up.
What are we doing, Rod? What are we doing? I'm genuinely curious. Are we not putting up snowball odds because of the Cup Series race this weekend, or the Xfinity Series race, or the Truck Series, or the ARCA Series, or your local track that's not racing right now? There's nothing else going on. Formula One. Go check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. RIP. But why do we not have odds up for this? Unfortunately, Bovada's only giving us outright, so we don't have. We can't dig deep into this and go for your top fives and top tens and stuff. But hey, it's still fun to talk about. It's a race that we can put some money on, sweat out some winners. You're getting some guys 100 to 1, 200 to 1. And some of them, I don't know that it would be crazy if they really won this race. So, it's something to bet on, something to talk about, and that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this, too. It's so many. I mean, obviously, it's not the field that we see each and every week. There are names that we recognize, but, like, there's guys that are late model guys that kind of take exception to the fact that we think that, or some people think, we don't necessarily think, but there's some people that come in and think, oh yeah, well, guess what? These NASCAR guys are going to come in and run the table with it. And honestly, as we start to dig into the odds, you'll actually see that there's some that are favored a little more, but by and large, it's not a runaway as you would think, right? The top of the odds sheet would be stacked with these guys from NASCAR from whatever series it is, whether it's Truck Series or Xfinity Series or, heaven forbid, Cup Series in this case. But yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily stacked with those names. And there are names on here that you recognize if you are a late model guy and follow late model racing. So yeah, definitely a nice mixture. Definitely going to be fun to talk about some names that we don't always talk about. So, look, Cody, should we go commercial free?
Let's do it.
Let's go commercial free. So to do that, I'm going to tell you first about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. You can check out their new and improved website. Great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live leader casino, even new early cash out options. Gotta love Army for the Atlantic Conference Championship. Find that on MyBookie. Go and grab that because I guarantee you right now, Army is going to make a stand. Yes, lost to Notre Dame. I get it. I'm just as devastated as anybody else, but I will say they are going to charge back for the AAC championship. And and they're going to do it in fine fashion. So find those odds over there on mybookie.ag and go back the Army Black Knights as they go for their first conference championship in a ton of years. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. You can build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm apps. You want NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm has it all. Go claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Well, as we begin our search on this odds board, the top of the odds board, should come as no surprise, Cody, that the returning champion is the favorite and pretty much a clear-cut favorite, Ty Majeski, plus 350. He won the last one. He's won a couple of them. Can he do it again?
Sing us a song, you're the piano man, Rod. Yeah, he's won, 2 of the last 3 now. So pretty solid from him there. But come on, Rod. This is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. We know about Ty Majeski. We know what can happen to Ty Majeski. Man, I don't know. Pretty tough to back Ty Majeski as the favorites. And as it is even in the Truck Series, it's pretty tough, right? Because, well, things can go wrong. And we've definitely seen that from Ty Majeski before. So only plus 350. It doesn't do enough for me to want to bet on him outright. Obviously, he should be good. He's coming off of winning the Truck Series championship. We know he's a short track guy, right? And this. So if you're wondering why we know that he's a short track guy in the Truck Series, it's because of the late model stuff. This is what he grew up doing. He's a late model guy, and that's why there's certain guys, Rod, and this is, sort of good like lesson and stuff of this is why there's certain guys we target in all 3 NASCAR series on short flat tracks. And we say, hey, this is a short track guy. This is a late model guy, right? We talk about Ryan Preece. He grew up as a short track guy racing modifieds. Ryan Newman back in the day, or other guys that are good on short flat tracks. Ty Majeski being one, Lane Riggs being another one that has come up through this type of racing. This is why, because this is what he grew up doing. So he's obviously very good. He's at the top of his game right now. I think obviously he just won his first NASCAR championship, right? So at plus 350, deserves to be the favorite in this one, but just it's not a good enough number for me to want to bet it, especially with all the things that can go on. And as loaded as this field is, both with NASCAR affiliated drivers and just late model drivers as well.
Yeah, and for Ty Majeski, it was a feel-good story for him to get that championship at the end of the year. But you got to figure, too, I mean, that's an exhausting journey, and it's not to say that it's going to carry over. He's had a couple of weeks to rest up. He's back in familiar territory in a late model car. But like you said, there is a lot of gremlins that can jump up and get you each and every year. And the fact that he hasn't won all of these that he's been in is one for you to go on. He has won 2 of the last 4, yes. But by the same token, it's just, there's a lot of guys out there that can get you, and there's a lot of things out there that can jump up and get you. And like you said, Ty Majeski knows exactly that. So plus 350, if you truly, truly, truly believe, I guess it's not the worst to triple up on your money. But I think there's other guys down here that I would much rather kind of back at some better odds for this too, because these late model guys, they don't always play by the same rules as NASCAR either. And there's a lot of guys that are like, well, I'll put the bumper and I won't even think twice, because guess what?
You got to watch out putting the bumper in the late models, Rod. They're not afraid to send you to the back. They're actually probably more strict on that than NASCAR is, because they car store is notorious for it. They'll send you to the back, no problem.
That's true. Well, yeah, because they don't have all of the pressure too, the money that goes along with it as well. So, all right. Well, then let's talk about the next couple of guys on the block. Steven Nasse is at plus 650, and then Derek Thorne, who has actually also won a Snowball Derby here recently, is at plus 700. Yeah. What do we know about these guys?
Yeah. So I don't want to jump past Steven Nasse because I think that he deserves to be talked about. He's a very solid driver, sort of in his peak. He's again, like you could go through the list of these guys' accomplishments, and there's a lot of them, right? He's won just about anything and everything there is to win in the late models and everything. He's actually got 3 ARCA Menard Series starts. And again, another guy that is a deserved winner. His nickname, Rod, Classy Nasty, due to his short-tempered nature and on-track antics, which I personally think is pretty awesome. But yeah, he's definitely again a guy that deserves to be up here in the odds. Looks like last season he finished in 6th place. 2 seasons ago he had a 3rd place finish. And then I lost my tab that had the other results on it. But so been pretty good the last couple of seasons in this event.
Yeah, but I know that I'm actually eyeballing the guy that won this one 2 seasons ago, and that's
this is the first like go bet. This absolutely you don't want to miss out on Derek Thorne. Derek Thorne, 7-1, Rod. This is a guy that if I was betting one person in this race, this is the guy that I would be betting is Derek Thorne, because he gosh, I got too many tabs open here trying to find things again. But he's been really, really good in this race in particular over the past couple of seasons. I think I was trying to remember what happened to him last year. I know he didn't have a very good fit. Did he even make? Oh yeah, so he finished 26, but he was 18 laps down. So I think he had got caught up in something during the race, but won this race in 2022, and then 2021. Another tab that I accidentally closed out, Rod. What did he do in 2021? He was in 2nd place as well to Chandler Smith in that one. So he has been at or near the top in multiple times here lately. He's also made some starts in the K&N West Pro Series. It's been actually he's got 51 starts, so he's done pretty well. 7 wins in that. That's sort of the next series below ARCA, if you're not too familiar with that. So done pretty good there. It's been a few years since he's run that, but yeah, he is a former winner, obviously, as I mentioned, in 2 seasons ago in the 55th running of this. 38-year-old guy, so he's been around, right? Kind of a veteran of this. A lot of starts in this race. But yeah, top 2 in 2 of the last 3. You get him at plus 700. This is absolutely the first place where, okay, you got to bet on this guy.
Yeah, and so also in the 2019 Snowball Derby. How many ways am I going to mess up the word derby today?
Dirty. What's next on your bingo card for how will Rod fuck up the word derby?
Take a shot every time I can't say derby correctly.
So who's going to win this Kentucky Derby, Rod?
The Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes Snowball Derby.
Florida Derby, right?
Oh, for the love of God. Anyways, 2019 Snowball Derby. He started on the pole. 2020, he started on the pole. He did crash out and finish 15th in 2019, but 2nd place in 2020 as well. A 3rd place finish in the 2014 Snowball Derby, and then a 9th place finish in the 2013 version of this one. So, yeah, I mean, listen, he led 252 laps in 2020 before finishing 2nd. So he has been a powerhouse around this particular track. So I do love me some Thorne to repeat because, like you said, I mean, he's going to be sniffing around the front. And all you got to do is sniff around the front long enough for Ty Majeski to have a piano fall out of the sky and be right there in 2nd place when that happens, right? So I like that as well. All right, let's take a couple of guys that are, well, names that we recognize in this show. Carson Kvapil, 750 plus 750, and Chandler Smith also plus 750. A couple of NASCAR guys. I know we sing the praises for Carson Kvapil each and every time we get on this. This is another instance where I think like we may have to sing his praises again.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Kvapil plus 750. So he's going to be in the Dale Jr. 8, right? In the Junior Motorsports number 8 car.
Beautiful.
That's what he, as always, right? Dale Jr. always top notch. And of course, we know that he's going to be in the Xfinity Series full-time next year for Junior Motorsports. So he's one of those guys that's climbing that ladder. If you're a longtime NASCAR fan, Travis, of course, being his father, you know him from back in the day in that 77 Penske car, Rod. Beautiful car. But yeah, he's been good here throughout the years, and he is a good late model driver, I guess is the words that I'm looking for. But yeah, I was trying to think. So has he actually started? I know Caden was in last year's race, but I don't know if Carson. I was trying to go back and look through these results. I feel like, okay, so he was 12th place here 2 seasons ago. So he has started in this race at least a couple of times. Yeah, maybe that was his only start. But so with Carson here at these odds, again, if I'm already going to take Derek at 7 plus 700, do I want to get another guy at 750? Probably not. If you're going to, Carson Kvapil obviously is a pretty good guy to get. He's in the JRM car. We know it's good. We know he's been good on the Cars Tour. Obviously, he's going to the Xfinity Series next year. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Ron?
So for me, I feel like this is another instance where I feel like, I know that Chandler Smith obviously won this one early, but I feel like we're giving Carson Kvapil just a little bit more than what I think it's going to happen, right? I mean, we know he's a good driver. We know he killed it wherever he was at in the 88, but like the 8 car, I think is what's blurring everybody's vision.
Oh, and it's the name, the recognition, right? Like he's burst onto the scene in NASCAR, and it's this big story, and it's great. He's done a lot of good stuff in late models, but he's not really been a great finisher in this big, prestigious race with all these people. Like, yes, what he's done in late models has been impressive. It's been great, but we haven't seen it yet at this level. And so I think that's what gives me pause. I'm not going to bet him at this number. Chandler Smith, I think you have to consider, as we talked about. He won this race back in 2021. So he's done it before. Obviously, we know him. Is he racing for a job in this race, Rod? I don't know. Is he already started with his father's construction company? I don't know, but he doesn't currently have a job in NASCAR. So maybe this is a great opportunity to go out and whip some ass and take some names and show everybody. So again, if I was looking for another guy in this range, plus 750, I think it would be Chandler Smith. I don't know that I want to commit to betting on him. We'll kind of see as we continue to go to the list here, but I would say Derek Thorne again is our must bet guy at 7-1. The next guy that I'm pausing and saying, okay, maybe we'll bet him is Chandler Smith at plus 750.
Yeah, and I don't even know. Like I said, I'll pause, but I don't know that I'll actually do it because Chandler Smith, he just has been frustrated all season long, and sometimes it just carries over, especially if you're trying too hard, knowing that you have to kind of shake off a rough go of what you just got off of the track. And yeah, those demons can kind of haunt you. And Chandler Smith's one of those guys where he'll bring his emotions into it. And I think this isn't one where I'm comfortable. 750 is still a good number, but I don't know that I'm back in this one. I'd take Derek Thorne easily over Chandler Smith on this one. But all right, next guy on the list is the guy you just brought up, right? The guy who's just getting a full-time ride. That's Gio Ruggiero, plus 750 for him as well, like Chandler Smith. But even still, like I don't know. I'm not necessarily sold. He finished runner-up here last year, but
well, this is the guy we just talked about, Rod, getting that Tricon ride for next season. But yeah, again, at only plus 750, only 18 years old. He's young, and he did finish second to the eventual Truck Series champion. So you like that, right? That obviously shows that promise. Have we seen enough? Do we know enough about him? It's harder to pull the trigger on guys like this, again, kind of in that same range.
Yeah, and again, in that same range. That's the key to this too, is in that same range. If you're looking for guys that are better bets than say a Gio.
And, again, if you're tuning in, if you're just a late model fan, Snowball Derby fan, whatever it is, and you're like, oh, these guys are all good. What are you talking about? We're not saying that they're not, right? We're looking at this from a betting perspective. And you can't just go in every week and be like, oh, Kyle Larson's the best NASCAR driver and bet on him, because if you bet on him every week, you're not going to make any money because, well, he doesn't win more times than he does win, and it has to balance out, right? So it's not a dig on any of these guys or saying that they're not good, because they're all at the top of this odds board for a reason, right? He should be in the mix. They should have a chance to win this race. It's just, is there enough value to bet them at the number that they are being listed at? So I just wanted to kind of mention that as well. Obviously, these guys are really good, and they're at the top of the odds board for that exact reason.
That's true. We may actually get some folks that don't really listen to us on NASCAR because they're searching up Snowball. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, as it is,
probably not a lot of Snowball podcasts out there, Rod. I'm going to guess. I'm sure that there's a few, right? There's a lot of NASCAR or racing podcasts out there that cover different things, but probably not a ton of podcasts talking about Snowball Derby.
No. So if you have stumbled on us because you've been searching for Snowball and you came across this show, first and foremost, hi. We do talk about NASCAR on a daily basis over the course of the season. And yeah, look, we get it. We know and we respect and we revere all of these drivers who are in this that aren't NASCAR drivers, because guess what? There are other outlets other than NASCAR. We do recognize that. So we're not trying to say these NASCAR guys are going to come in and stomp. Quite the contrary. We do feel like a lot of times these NASCAR
Eric Thorne's our favorite guy to bet on so far. So I think case in point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So just don't think that we're going over here saying, well, he's a NASCAR guy, he's going to win. He's a NASCAR. No, quite the opposite. We're looking for value in this one. And so there's no value, we think, in Geo. But let's get down to the double digit guys, the 10-1 guys. Bubba Pollard, we saw him in the Xfinity Series a couple of he drove an 88, same as Carson Quapple, right? Finished 6th in the Richmond race.
He's a huge name. I mean, probably one of the more recognizable names, even for casual fans in the late model scene. So in this race, though, over the past few years, Rod. That's kind of what gives me pause. Kind of 10th to 13th place change in all the last 3. Again, I think 3 sort of a good sample size to look at, as far as sort of what have you done for me lately? One-off race-ish, obviously. But yeah, and again, at only 10-1. Bubba Pollard's a great driver. Saw him in the Truck Series. I feel like he made some Xfinity starts too, even in the one truck maybe. But yeah, at only 10-1, I just can't quite pull the trigger on it.
Well, and just looking even back farther, like 2020 in the Snowball Derby, he finished 34th, had a handling problem in that one. The 2019, when he crashed out of that one, he did start 5th, finished 25th in that Snowball Derby. 2018, 26th. In the Snowball Derby, it just has not been fun. I mean, his best finish over the last several years is a 3rd place finish in 2017, but 11th place in 2016, 5th in 20. He's good. We know he's good, but like you said, it's just the inconsistency of this, which is why kind of 10-1 is where he's at. And I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with him winning a race that he hasn't particularly finished consistently within the top 5.
You know what I am comfortable betting on, Rod?
Bring it.
Cole Butcher, baby. 18-1 for this guy. Top 5 in the last 3 Snowball Derbies in a row. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You're going to a guy that hasn't won it yet, right? So, but at 18-1, he's been in the mix 3 seasons in a row, maybe even farther back than that. Again, I've only pulled up on my million tabs over here the last 3 results, but he's been strong the last 3 seasons for this. You're getting him at 18-1. And I think that, obviously, again, NASCAR show, we know these names, but I think that this is our opportunity to bet on some of these guys that the names aren't pulling as much, right? They're not as popular as a Chandler Smith or a Carson Quapple name that are more well-known. He's kind of just hiding here, tucked in at 18-1, even though he's been a top 5 guy for 3 seasons in a row. This is the second guy that I am for sure betting on. So I've got Thorne at 7-1 rather. And then Butcher, I think, is my next guy I'm pulling the trigger on here at 18-1.
And bonus, he's Canadian. That already, how much
he's our favorite Canadian in the Snowball Derby, Rod? Is that what we've decided?
Favorite Canadian.
Stuart Friesen's not in this one, right? No, okay, we're good.
Yeah,
it's not on dirt, so no Stuart Friesen.
Yeah, no Stuart Friesen on this one. But just go back farther, because I actually have the last few before that too. 6th place in 2020 here, 3rd place in 2019 for the Snowball Derby, 9th in 2018. He did start on the outside pole.
So that's top 6 in 5 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you're even more talking me into it.
Yeah. I mean, the worst finish in the last few seasons was the 2017 15th place finish he had at this Snowball Derby as well. So, yeah, I mean, a string of solid finishes for Cole Butcher. And I think, just like you said, if a guy's going to hang around in the front part of it, all it takes is for the top 2 cars to take themselves out. And next thing you know, 4th place Cole Butcher drives to the win instead of Ty Majeski in the 2023 version of this race. So, love it. I love me some Cole Butcher. 18-1. That's such a fantastic number. All right. Also 18-1. William Sawalich. Big on him in the Truck Series this season.
Who was big on him? Well, you were big on him, Ron.
I was big on him, but yeah.
He was not big on himself because he didn't really perform that well.
No, he didn't.
He sort of had a tough season in the Truck Series, and he's kind of had some tough goes of it lately in the Snowball Derby as well. I mean, not been super great. I guess, 10th place last year, okay. Boy, boy, I'm not even seeing him.
But see, that's the difference too, Cody. And while you look around through the million tabs that you have, but that's the difference between when we talk about outrights versus betting top fives, top tens,
Right.
and all that other stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
when a guy finishes in 10th place, that's fantastic. But the thing is that did he finish top five? Did he finish top three? Like, what are his chances to win? Because that's all we have is a chance.
I wish we had top fives, top tens, because that, if we did, and if you've not listened to the show before, that's what we dig deep into in NASCAR betting. Like, it's not about betting the winner most of the time. It's nice, and sometimes you hit Roger Cruth 80-1, and it's a great time, right? But that doesn't happen a lot. Where you make your money is top tens and top fives and head-to-head matchups. I would love to have done an entire show on all of those things. Obviously, we don't have those options, and maybe later on in the week we will. And again, good reason to be over in the Discord because we'll talk about it there. And maybe if they do, I might put out some YouTube shorts because I'm pretty excited about this race, Rod. So I would love to see some more options as the week kind of goes on. But yeah, that's what you get as far as having outright. So William Swalwich again, name we know, name I'm not really interested in betting on. David Gilliland next on the board, 20-1. If you don't know, Rod, David Gilliland, former NASCAR Cup Series driver, also the father of Todd Gilliland, who's going to be in the 34 car this season, of course. Also, Rod, the owner of Tricon Motorsports over in the Truck Series. If you didn't know, formerly David Gilliland Racing, renamed it to Tricon. But he is the owner over there, still gets behind the wheel every once in a while. This is one of those cases. Again, not super interested in betting him at a kind of a shorter number here.
Yeah, no, I definitely am not going to put any stock, I think, into a David Gilliland outright. I mean, it'd be interesting. It'd be a good story, but I'm not necessarily into that one. So, all right. So listen, we're getting down to the end of the area now where it's just where are we highlighting some other folks outside of this 20-1 range? Because I don't want to go through every single name on here. So,
yeah. So we could touch on some of the other names here, like Luke Fenhouse. That's a name we've seen in the Truck Series a lot. 22-1. So again, kind of, to put a guy, match up a guy. Where does he come from? We see him run certain races. Well, this is probably why, right? He's a guy over here. Brent Cruz. That's a name that I've definitely heard quite a bit before. He's 25-1. Caden Quapelrod, 25-1. Of course, that's the younger brother of Carson. He actually had a pretty good run here. So he was 13th last year, but was it 2 seasons ago? Why is this? Boy, some of these websites with these results, Rod, not very well. It keeps scrolling back to the top. I don't need to be scrolled to the top. I thought I had seen a good finish from him at some point.
This is why you write everything down too.
This is why, and I didn't today, but this is why in season I use the notebook, so I don't have to do all this the scrolling. But Connor Jones, 33-1. Obviously, we know him from the Truck Series. If you know him from the Truck Series, you don't want to touch him because he's scary. Jake Garcia, 33-1, Truck Series guy. Stop me if you want to talk about any of these guys, Rod. Caden Honeycutt at 33-1.
Question mark. He did
finish.
I
did, yeah. Do you have any good Caden Honeycutt finishes as of recently? Because Honeycutt is a guy that I really like, a guy we're going to be talking about a lot in the Truck Series next year, Rod. He's going to be running full-time over in that Nice truck that he did really well at part-time this last season. I'm not seeing a lot of great finishes over the past few years from Mr. Honeycutt. If we went along your shot top 5, I'd love to maybe dabble in that, but we don't. So going to pass. Noah Gragson at 33-1, Rod, because he's Noah Gragson. Absolutely. At 33-1, as talented as Noah Gragson is, how do you not bet on this? So I will be investing in Noah, former winner of this race. So we know that he can be done. He's done it previously. He's obviously so this is the first guy we've gotten to, Rod, that is a current full-time Cup Series driver. Might actually be the only one in the field, actually.
That's the only one.
Think about it, because Eric Jones, sad that Eric Jones not in this race this year. He's been a staple in previous winter as well, but they just had a baby, so congratulations to them. So maybe staying home to be a dad for now. But yeah, Noah Gragson at 33-1. How do you not do it, Rod?
You kind of have to. I mean, this is a guy who, like you said, and now after the season that he had, bidding goodbye to the team that he was driving for, obviously getting set for his new ride. This is all house money for him, and he's just going to go for broke, I think. And He's got the talent to do it. He's done it already. 33-1 for a guy that's won this race already. That kind of is the area where you say, okay, this is the real value, because, it hasn't happened. I mean, obviously it hasn't happened in a little while, but by the same token, it's like Ty Majeski's done this twice in 4 years. Yeah, but his plus 350 really for Noah Gragson 33-1, right? I mean, that's kind of like, where are we at? It's almost 100 times, 300 times. I'm not good at math anymore, but it's definitely much, much more beneficial if Noah Gragson ends up winning than if Ty Majeski ends up winning. So I like that. We kind of glossed over Matt Craig. Just want to bring his name up real quick. It's tough because he's definitely been decent. He was good here last year, finished in 5th place last year, but before that, kind of a rough go. I know in 2020 it was 19th, 2019 it was 19th. He did have 8th place in the 2017 All-American 400, but just an intriguing 22-1 for a guy that finished in 5th place. If we're talking up Cole Butcher, I figure Matt Craig probably deserves to be in sort of the same consideration level as that. So I'm liking that there.
Trayton Lapsevich, 33-1. That's a name that jumps out to me. Young kid, 20 years old, from Canada, another Canadian guy here, just won the South Carolina 400 at Florence. That, of course, was the race that Dale Jr. was in a couple of weeks ago. He has sort of burst onto the late model scene here lately. So yeah, this is a guy that I am liking as well. 33-1. We're gonna maybe we'll come back and see if we're gonna commit to him. But somebody I'm gonna write down as we kind of continue to go through these odds and look at here, Rod, because I think that maybe a young, and I don't see, this might be his first Snowball Derby. And again, like another thing to note, not all of these guys make the main event. Oh, I guess he did finish 24th here last season. But he's just had a really impressive season coming off of that big win. And again, why do you make the case for this guy over, a Giovanni Ruggiero at plus 750? Well, it's because you're getting him at 33-1. And that's why, like that. So you got to sort of search for some of these longer shots that, hey, he's been doing pretty good here lately, coming off a big win. Maybe he carries that momentum going forward. That's why you consider betting a guy like this at a longer shot. Yes, Giovanni should have the better day, but if you're looking odds-wise, a guy like this is definitely attractive.
Again, when we talk about this, and if you're still kind of not familiar with the show, it's all odds-driven. Everything that we talk about is odds-driven. It's not like we said that we're trying to slide drivers. We're just really trying to give you a grasp of the odds, and at outright odds, it's so difficult because anything can and usually does happen, especially in some of these races that aren't NASCAR up there. And it's tough to kind of nail down outrights in a NASCAR race, let alone in a late model race where there's a lot of guys that aren't used to racing each other every single week and in just new equipment to them, right? I mean, a lot of these guys, they don't race the same car each and every time they get in there. It's sometimes a car that's different than what they raced the year before. So it's just difficult sometimes to nail down outrights, but we do, and we try, and we're giving it a good go of this one. And if you want other Snowball content, good luck finding it. That's what I'm saying.
Let's see. Other notable names, Rod. Derek Kraus. Of course, we've seen him previously in the Truck Series. Johnny Sauter, he's at 50-1. Obviously a Truck Series legend and other series too. Connor Sutton, that's a name we've seen obviously in that 24 truck. At 80-1. Dawson Sutton, I guess that's the guy we've seen in the 24 truck, not the other Sutton. My bad. One more I want to highlight here, Rod. Jacob Gomez, or is it Gomes? Jacob Gomes, maybe. Sorry, I don't know your name, but if you cash a 150-1 ticket, I will not only know your name, I'll have a t-shirt on next week on the podcast. Rod, he finished 9th place here last season. That's not too far back there. So, again, you're looking for guys, and he was actually 9th place in 2022 as well. So if you could bet on an exacta for him to finish in 9th place, good luck finding that. But, again, this is where I'd love to have top 10s or top 5s. Like, this guy would be a great top 5 bet because you're going to get a big number. Not going to get it. But at 150-1, guy that's been in the top 10 2 seasons in a row, again, that's what you're looking for at a big number. So give me some Jacob Gomes at 150 to 1.
I like him already because he is from Manteca, which is right up the road. So Manteca, California driver.
He's our
Jacob,
favorite Canadian from California.
My favorite Canadian driver from California. So I'm with you on that one. Plus, like you said, if you cash 150 to 1, you are singing the praises of Jacob. So
one more name, Rod. Michael Scott. Is that the guy from The Office? Okay.
I was gonna wear my Dunder Mifflin.
Oh, you should have done it. He's in this race. No, I don't think. I think it's a different Michael Scott. So
I'm pretty
unfortunate there. But yeah, I think that nobody else really jumps out to me as far as on the odds board here. So I think that built a pretty decent card as we've gone along. I think I am. Boy, Rod, I'm going to take 5 outrights because you know what? We don't have a lot else to bet on right now. So fucking let's do it, right? Obviously, Derek Thorne 7-1. That's the main bet, right? This is the guy that really feel like has a good chance, should be in the top 3 at the end of the day. Going to give you a chance to win. 7-1, you bet him. Butcher, I like him at 18 to 1. Rod, he has a first name as well, and that is Cole. Cole Butcher at 18 to 1. Like him as well. And then sort of your longer shots, right? So break it up a little bit, spread it apart. Noah Gragson at 33 to 1. We're going to do it. Lapsovich at 33 to 1. There is 2 Lapsoviches in here, by the way. Trayton is the one that I'm betting on, 33 to 1. His brother Caden, the older brother, actually is 200 to 1 if you're interested in that. But Trayton, the guy that I'm targeting at 33 to 1. And then Jacob Gomes at 150 to 1 is my Snowball Derby long shot, Rob.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I'm going to back you. I will go definitely with the Derek Thorne pick.
Yeah, that's like that's the main show pick right here. If you take nothing else from the show, bet on Derek Thorne this weekend, Rob.
Indeed. All right. Well, we broke it down, and we've given you an hour's worth of Snowball Derby betting coverage. Again, the most.
Remember that comment you made right before we started the show, Rod? We're talking about the show, how we're going to go about it, right? We'll cover some NASCAR news sometime early. Couple quick minutes on the Snowball Derby. It'll be a shorter episode. I said that's what she said. Rod laughed, and now we're at an hour. There's your quick recap.
This just goes to show that we love talking racing, right? If this proves nothing else to you, it means that we love talking racing, regardless of what it is. So, all right. Well, then tomorrow we talk more racing, Cody. Tomorrow we actually get back into the NASCAR world and start talking about some odds. Which, by the way, Caesars, thanks for listening. Put everything back up again.
Keep them up.
Keep it up.
Yes. Caesars has the full selection up again, which is going to give us a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah, season wins. We're going to have part 1, part 2. We'll see. There's a lot out there, Rod. Maybe we'll come back with part 3 next week. So we'll see how it goes the next couple of days. But these are like the really fun ones to bet, right? You'll sweat or not sweat. They can end very early in the season, depending which way you go on them. The season win totals are a lot of fun to talk about. And it sort of gives you, like we talked about championship last week and stuff. Only so many guys can really win the championship. There's a lot of season win odds out there for a lot of different drivers, guys that have a chance to win the championship and guys that have no shot at winning the championship. So again, it gives you another opportunity to bet on different guys. If you have a certain favorite driver or you don't like a driver, you want to bet against them, and sort of our outlook on what we're going to be looking for from them next season. Talk through it, right? We set at 2 wins. Where can he get 2 wins at, or whatever the case is? So always a fun time and looking forward to that, Rob.
I am too, my friend. So to get there, we have to be done with today. So let's go ahead and send everybody off on their way to go place their Snowball Derby bets. And then, again, keep up with it on Sunday. That's when it is. So if you're going to, go find it on NASCAR.com. They give you a spot where you can actually watch it later on. Do have to register with Flow Racing, but it's as simple as putting in your information, selling your kidney, and you're able to watch it. So, all right, Cody. Well, then, as we send everybody off today, remind everybody where they can find you out in the world, because it feels like forever since we've seen them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not on Flow Racing by now, what are you doing? Like, are you really a race fan? Anyways, there's nonstop racing on Flow all the time. So check it out, Rod. Check me out as well at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Hanging on to that top 10 spot for NFL season long against the spread expert over on Tally site. There's a couple hundred people over there, I think, make picks every week. Top 10 in that, so make sure you follow along, having a pretty good season. Hope to continue that going forward. Tons of content still coming out for the website as well, so make sure you check that out, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And, subscribe to the YouTube podcast, all the fun stuff. Leave us some reviews. We appreciate it. And see you guys tomorrow. Back to NASCAR talk.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez and at Blue Sky at RJ Villagomez. There's a link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here. I am so tired of getting just wrecked out of these first touchdown bets. I want to get back on track, so follow me on Thursday. I'll have some more for you as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow with more NASCAR talk. Until then, enjoy the snowballs in Florida. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's go racing and let it ride.